Eastern ideology. You see the image, right? You see the image of Zen, right? Or Hinduism architecture, the plan of the architecture in India. Or you see this painting, right? Of Buddhism talking. This is the image of the universe, of the world, right? So what is it? When we talk about ideology, we talk about belief, the ultimate belief, the basic belief. When I say basic, it mean it's deep inside, right? It's a fundamental, hidden, embedded in our minds, in our very child, right? So look at this diagram. Somehow we study architecture, right? So we have to think about space and structure. So we're gonna link this ideology, with the way human act and the way they behave and perform activities, and that physical activity needs space. The assumption here is that the mind and the body are related. Okay. For example, if ideology is absolute happiness, but it doesn't mean to have a big palace or big car or a lot of food. We talk about the way the mind reach happiness. Or in some other religions, the mind has to be with God. So if you were there, the ideology is an ideal situation where people want to be, or some want to live in heaven after you die, right? So your spirit, your soul, go to heaven, right? So how would you do that? Or some believe that they should reach the state of nirvana, nibbana, right? Nirvana, nibbana, enlightenment in Buddhism. How would they do that? So they would need activity. They would need to do something, right? The action to gain the ideological state. So with these activities, here comes the architecture, here comes the space, and the enclosure, the environment that we perform these value merit activities is our focus for this term. We do not focus on any other activity like we go to toilet or we go to bed. That's a different thing, right? We already done that last term. This term, we're thinking of the way you look at the images that people making merit, or they do the circumference walk, Prataksina, or in Thai we call Vien Tien, right? We walk clockwise around the main hall in the temple. I know that in Myanmar you do that as well, right? So they need space for that. They need structure. They need images. They walk around the object of worship. The object of worship is the representation of the ideology, right? Okay. So now we have object of worship. We have the space around the object or at the object, for the object, right? And we be with the object, or we perform activities somewhere, right? And we focus on this space for religious activity, right? So when we look at architectural space that related to religious religious activities, it means that that activity had the purpose, to gain the ideological state, to be with God, live in heaven, to reach nirvana, or to gain absolute happiness or absolute power. It depend on their ideal state would be. All right. So if you look at the form and the space of the architecture, so sometimes it looks strange. It's probably not a comfortable place to live. because that's not the purpose. The purpose is for the mind. So that's what I said, the environment of the mind, right? Okay. This idea originated in India, northeastern of India, right? And it's not, I'm not talking about Hinduism or Buddhism, because this idea has been originated long before that, right? Long before that. We talk about one of the source of the great source of Eastern thinking is the Vedics, the Vedas, Veda, Veda, Ved, Vitaya, Vicha. It means know, to know, right? The knowledge. The Veda is a great, a great books, let's say. And at the time, we talk about maybe 3,000, 4,000, or even longer than that in northern of India or Afghanistan today. People there already have caste system, they divided by the light and the dark skin of the different people, right? And they also prevent the mix of races, and that has been hidden in the Asia for some time. You might not experience that much of thinking, but aware of that. When you talk about people, these people have light, nice white skin, or why are you so dark? And that's the basic of the caste system. The way people separate in caste. Caste system. Someone higher, someone lower than you, right? That's the idea. And the Vedas divided into 4 books. Each book talking about different things, about God, about medicine, and the way to treat people to be healthy. And sacrificial formula, that means the way you offering things for God, so God can bless in you. And Atharvaveda is like the curse and the bless. And in Thai today, in Bali, we call Sayasat, Saya, right? As an opposite of sign. Okay, so this book is the source of the guidance of the activities. So somehow when people want to perform certain activity to God, they need a space, a good building. So the builder build that to serve them, right? Okay, I'm gonna stop here for a second, and let's move here. So example, for example, right? You see this some people, yogi or rishi or monk or priest, they stay in the forest, stay in the cave, and practice, and they improve their mind, the willpower. So when they build architecture, sometimes they build to imitate, to copy, to try to recreate a cave, but in a more elaborated, more beautiful, more decorated way, right? Okay. Okay. So today, I want you to do your work. Okay. Have a look at your work. I think it's already. You still see the screen, right? Sort of design inspiration. I want you to do a digital collage, right? Let's say about A4. I want you to read into the ideology in the East, Eastern in Asia, okay? China, India, mainly. And I want you to create a collage that express your understanding, your view of the Asian ideology, okay? You can look at Hinduism, Buddhism, Brahmanism, right? The Vedas, right? They are linked to this to this idea. Okay, and also linked to Buddhist architecture or early temple architecture, right? That some of the temple that left, but think about it. A building is a building. It probably used for Buddhism or Hinduism or Brahmanism or some other cult. It doesn't matter. But it's an ancient Indian architecture. I'll say, okay, so many Buddhist architecture were built with stone, so they left, they're still standing until today. So we take them as an example of what's happening at the time, right? So have a look at Eastern ideology. Search Google, search the book, and do the collage of the symbol of the ideology and how they related to the environment. How would they create the environment for the mind to reach a certain purpose, right? So 2-dimension, A4, let's make a collage. Okay, question?